Hello and welcome back to True Crime Guys Podcast. I'm your host, Michael, and I think I saw Andy sitting in the studio today. Andy, there you are.
I am very, very sneaky,
Oh,
sir.
hello.
I just popped out of this chair. I became the chair. You can't see me. I'm actually wearing the colors of the chair.
You are. You're very monochrome today. That looks good.
It's like a hiding spot.
Speaking of, guys, you can't see us at all. If you guys haven't noticed, for the past couple episodes, we've decided to just go back to old school podcasting for a few reasons. For one reason, long-term video is extremely time-consuming, and it's just a little too much of a strain on our small team right now. And reason number two being, it's a little bit easier to be genuine and kind of forget that you're being recorded and just hanging out with your friend talking about things when there's not a camera in front of your face. It's a little bit easier.
You feel like you're much more pushed for time.
Exactly.
You feel like you're just, you can't say what's always on your mind. You can't say all your opinions on something. You're like, I gotta just, no fat, just
right.
meat.
And you feel like you gotta look at the camera sometimes, you know. But I don't know. You guys may just be podcast listeners and you may be sitting there thinking to yourself, you guys got a YouTube channel? But either way, I just thought I needed to explain myself on that. I'm sorry that we stopped recording these, but we will be doing video versions of every strange and unexplained case. They'll be, they're shorter episodes. It's more scripted, more produced, more written in-house. So those are, the videos that we can tolerate right now.
Those are also centered more around telling a story.
Exactly.
Instead of having a conversation about something, that is just one of us telling you a story. It's able for us to just kind of like, put some sounds in, some music in, set the vibe, and get this information across and not have a bunch of distractions. So yeah, the Sandu really lends itself to video form, where we're kind of learning in the TCG proper, it kind of put more strain on us in the conversation.
Did. And it took the fun out of podcasting, if I'm being honest. It really did, for me. Personally, it took the fun out of it. Now, in the future, maybe we'll go to maybe like one camera in the room or something like that, just a good quality camera set up in the corner and put that on Patreon for a little while or something like that. I don't know. But anyways, guys, I just thought that deserved an explanation. So if you've been missing these regular episodes on YouTube, that's why. But for the future, you guys can catch episodes here every single Wednesday, like regular, on the podcasting platform. And you can also catch episodes early and ad-free on Patreon, patreon.com/truecrimeguys. You guys can get access to every episode that we've ever done, every Patreon exclusive when we're not here, when we're doing headlines and shenanigans here on the free platform. You guys get access to all of those. And like I said, also these episodes early and ad-free. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, though, because we are still putting videos up from Strange and Unexplained, which is back. Sandu proper, new episode. Just came out this past Monday on the 1916 New Jersey shark attacks. That was a fun one, Andy.
The real Jaws. The inspiration for Jaws.
The inspiration for Jaws. And I think it was one shark.
No, I still think it was too.
Yeah, I think it was one single shark that did this.
I think the attacks were too much in line. They were too similar. It just became very obvious. It was like, there's not multiple sharks swimming around this close at the same time either.
Exactly. You guys got to check it out. I found it fascinating. My daughter actually checked a book out about this at the library, and she was like, she was reading some to me, and I'm like, hold on. What? She was reading the opinion of sharks in 1916, and it just, I was like, wait, people didn't know sharks were dangerous.
People thought sharks were dumb?
They thought sharks were docile.
Yes.
Yeah. Literally, 1916 New Jersey, that's when sharks broke bad.
Exactly.
That's when sharks changed in our minds forever, and it's a pretty interesting story. It's a gruesome but fascinating story. Speaking of gruesome and fascinating, last week's case here on TCG, if you guys have not checked that out, the Villisca Axe murders, an unsolved murder case, much like the Axemen of New Orleans.
Dude, that was a brutal case last week. That was one of the ones we actually gave a warning beforehand. We're like, this one's gonna get rough.
Yes.
But that case had a lot of it had so much brutality for what seemed like an innocent environment. Like, it wasn't like an inner city. This wasn't like a crime area. This wasn't even like a hot time for crime. This was just a rough.
And didn't this take place around the same time, like 1912, right?
Mm-hmm. That's very similar.
Hey, listen, man, that was a rough decade.
Sharks were smelling the blood.
That was a crazy decade. But anyways, this week, guys, we are coming a little more in the future, into the 2000s at least.
Like 100 years in the future.
Like 100 years in the future. We skipped a little bit.
Like exactly 100 years.
That's right. This crime that we're talking about, well, it started in November of 2012, and Brooklyn, New York was on edge as 3 local shopkeepers were murdered over the course of 5 months. The killer was 64-year-old traveling salesman named Salvatore Perrone. Perrone was eventually arrested and convicted for these brutal crimes and would later be dubbed as the Son of Sal by media outlets. But the real fascinating thing about this case is why, Andy. That's why I decided to do this case today, because it lends itself well to discussion. I do think there's a good chance that our perpetrator this week suffered from mental illness. Okay, yeah. Maybe a few different mental illnesses. So keep that in mind as we're rolling forward. But that doesn't excuse them for the crime, obviously. But some people thought it was hate crimes. Some people thought it was crimes of passion because he knew his victims. Or, he kind of was at a very bad spot in his life. Was it a man with nothing to lose, just following up on petty grudges? I don't know. But I'll tell you what I think, Andy, after the intro, though.
Oh, thank you. Let's get into this, Michael.
We'll also maybe find out what you want.
Fine.
Yeah.
Police are calling him a serial killer who has made statements now implicating himself, but so far they haven't given a motive in the murders of 3 Brooklyn store owners. It's all hyped up. Let's go. It's not normal like us.
I think it's reasonable to assume that he was going to continue doing this, and by arresting him, we have saved lives.
Just want to ask you one question, man. Why? Tell me the reason why.
All right, guys, for the second part of this intro, I want to play a little snippet of Sal Perrone himself in court, just so you get an idea of the audacity of this man and just how in his own world he really is. And you also get an idea of how disruptive he was as well. So, without further ado, here's a clip of Sal wanting to fire his first attorney. Here it is.
I was told that you are the only person that can change my attorney. I respectfully request new counsel to defend me.
John, briefly.
I'll be happy to hear you. Go ahead.
We were given names and no addresses, no other information. And
I gave you addresses.
We were given names and no other addresses. But we have a private investigator. Now that Mr. Perrone is talking, I'll have the investigator speak with him again.
Okay.
The police reached out to my daughter. They got her phone number. I had her on the telephone. She was scared for her life. I was being threatened. I was locked up for 36 hours. I was tortured for 36 hours, locked up in the police station. I had an opportunity to talk to my daughter in the middle of the conversation. They cut off the phone call to my daughter. I don't know the condition. To date, I still have not spoken to my daughter. Mr. Martin, I can't see how he cannot reach my daughter. The police reached my daughter. I gave him the information, my daughter, where she is. I gave him the information where my sister is. How is he going to properly represent me in this case if he can't reach my sister and he cannot reach my daughter?
Well, first of all, I want to assure you, Mr. Perrone, that Mr. Martin has been working in your behalf. I know that because he filed an omnibus motion for discovery in your behalf that the DA's office had to answer. He also contacted me and the district attorney to try to get contact information for your relatives so that the doctors doing the 730 exam could speak to your relatives. According to the 730 examination report, the doctors were unable to speak to these relatives that you were talking about.
Well, if you spoke to the detective who was at the police station, this Louis Oreo, I believe his name is, and his partner Rich, they have my daughter's phone number.
All right, based on this record, there's really nothing more for me to do regarding this issue.
Excuse me,
it's not a reason for me to replace Mr. Martin based on the facts that I've been made aware of. Apparently, your family members are not interested in coming to court on this case,
I do not
or in assisting you on this matter, because I'm pretty sure that they would know about this matter, and if they wanted to help you out, they would be here to support you, because that's the way it works around here in every other case that I'm familiar with.
All right, so Salvatore Perrone was born November 22nd, 1948 in Sicily, Italy, and moved to the United States as a child. At a very rough time to move to the United States, really. It's a time when millions of other Italians were fleeing Italy due to rural poverty and lack of economic opportunity. And you can imagine the competition was pretty fierce for young Salvatore.
This is post World War II Italy, like right off the back of the Mussolini regime falling.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a lot of Italian immigrants coming to America at this point.
Absolutely. Just in his own neighborhood, the competition was fierce, right? His family lived in Bensonhurst, a Brooklyn suburb, and that's pretty much where he'd spend the rest of his life. Not a whole lot is known about his childhood, but like I said, you could imagine the struggles of a young immigrant child in the 1950s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He, especially then, immigrant children, they faced a lot of criticism from their native peers, whether they be the same nationality as them or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was tough.
And this is a time, like I said, this is like the baby boomer generation, to where it's like if you weren't like an American and you didn't like your parents did, your father didn't fight in the war, and then you were like an immigrant from this country, it's like you were treated differently. It's like everybody, you had this post-war boom, and a lot of the immigrants at that time were treated differently, especially than the veterans coming back. So
right, exactly. Oh, definitely. Now, in his unassuming adult life, he worked as an apparel salesman that somewhat flew under the radar of normal society. Well, for a little while, at least. Obviously, we're doing this show. So.
I thought you meant his apparel flew under the radar for a while. I was like, oh, he was like a visionary?
His apparel flew under the radar forever.
He was like a visionary of fashion.
No.
It's like Halston.
That's what he wanted to be. That is. He wanted to be renowned for his fabrics, Andy. He actually ends up trademarking his name later.
Like I said, he's like he's like a young Halston.
Yeah.
Where is Ewan McGregor?
Wants to be. He wants to be. But he was a little bit self-destructive, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
The great ones always are, Michael.
Right. But before he started self-destructing, he opened his own clothing shop in Bay Ridge, and his personal life was coming together as well. And in the 1980s, he met his wife, Maria Salerno, who was also an Italian immigrant and a seamstress. So the two were made for each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is a very...
they really were. They were
Bronx Tale.
They were passionate about clothes, too. In New York, in Brooklyn.
That's what I said. This is a very New York story. This is a very New York immigrant story.
York story. I think I'm going to do the rest of it like this.
Very New York immigrant story right here.
In 1985...
My father was a clothing maker. My father was a tailor. My mother was a seamstress.
What are you going to do?
It was a match made in heaven.
My uncle's a cobbler. But in 1985, they moved to Staten Island and purchased a property that had long been a neighborhood eyesore, and they really did nothing to change that. The couple began their renovation and add-on plans, but when they split, the property quickly started falling apart. Oh my God, this house. We got to talk about this house for a minute. It's creepy, dude. Imagine like the house on Minions, Gru's house.
Yes. That one house on the street.
Me. It's like that, but with like puke green trim.
So it's like every other house next to it, kind of decent, and then there's just like this one, like just haunting, like skeleton in the middle of the neighborhood.
And they were also trying to make it like a fortress. They wanted tall fences and everything private in a community that thrived on being part of a community.
Yeah, that was very open-doored, that was very neighborly, and block parties down there.
Absolutely, very cordial. Yeah, but alas. Now divorced and estranged from his family, Perrone had accumulated a list of civil complaints about his home and other legal issues over the years. But nothing, though, that would indicate what he later became. And once Perrone started dating a woman in Brooklyn, he halted all work on his old home, and he lived in Staten Island part-time. Now, one neighbor, who wished to remain anonymous, stated that Perrone began sleeping in the basement of his Staten Island home, calling him a nasty piece of work.
I mean,
Okay?
your basement dweller. You dirty
He's
basement dweller.
He's a nasty piece of work, let me tell you. No, but yeah, at this point, like he was like, "Fuck this house."
Yeah, I mean, why? He's
Right.
like, he basically bought it with the hopes of like turning it into a dream home / like you said, fortress.
Yeah, exactly.
And then his whole life just fell apart. He's like, no, fuck this house.
Fuck this house. And then when he's with his girlfriend, he lives with her in Brooklyn. You know, he stays with her in Brooklyn part time, anyways.
Yeah.
So when he gets tired of this house, living in the basement, he just goes stays with her. But along with his home, Perrone's mental state was also deteriorating. He was becoming more and more paranoid that everyone was out to get him. And with the bank and multiple credit bureaus, because obviously he's not paying on a house he doesn't give a shit about, right? And then he owes money on loans that he borrowed for renovations as well. And not to mention his relationship with his neighbors going to shit. So the fact that everyone was out to get him really wasn't far from the truth, to be honest, at this point.
I was like, I don't think everybody was out to get him. I think everyone was just kind of annoyed, just done with him.
Well, you have to think
we're tired of dealing with you.
In Salvatore world,
Oh, okay.
everyone
yes.
is out to get him, though, Andy. I mean,
forgot.
Imagine that.
I forgot what we were talking about here.
Exactly. I mean, but seriously though, in the places he lives, right? Even his girlfriend Natasha is getting onto him at this point.
Natasha.
She once said he was too poor to buy a bottle of wine. She's Russian.
Of course.
She's, so I had to ditch him.
He's a very
He's a
Russian.
worthless man.
I am Natasha. I am your Russian girlfriend.
But his paranoia feeding his actions and his actions creating more issues for him that in turn create more paranoia. It was a vicious cycle. It really was. The neighbor said that she and several others fought with him about the state of his home, which racked up a total of 14 complaints with the city Department of Buildings. Neighbors began calling Perrone the son of Sal, presumably after the notorious 1970 serial killer Son of Sam, David Berkowitz.
Who could forget?
Yeah, right. This is kind of ominous now, looking back.
Yeah,
Because
it's kind of like
he got this moniker way before. They were just going by just his interactions with them. They're like, with each interaction, he's escalating and escalating. And so they're like, fucking son of Sam over here. Son of Sal, why?
Yeah, at this point, you almost have to, I'm definitely not victim blaming it at all at this point. It's like, you almost have to question the neighbors. It's like, you guys almost fucking create this? You guys started calling him son of Sal before he did any of this shit. It's like, you put the idea in his fucking head.
Well, they probably didn't call him that to his face.
No, I'm just saying, it's like the idea of being like, oh, you guys think I'm son of Sal? Son of Sal. I'll show you son of Sal.
Yeah, he was a little bit crazy.
Yeah, it's like, you shouldn't be earning a nickname like that before you've committed mass murder.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's not a good sign. That lets you know right there that he was being confrontational and being physical with people.
Oh, yeah.
As well.
If you're already being compared to somebody like that and you haven't done like real crimes, it's almost like a pretty much a not a guarantee, but it's a pretty good bet to say. It's a safe bet to say you might commit some crimes.
Yeah. And he did have quite a rap sheet though. Aside from the complaints filed by neighbors, Perrone was previously arrested on charges of drunken driving in Staten Island and in New Jersey, and of theft and harassment in Pennsylvania.
So charged with driving in Staten Island?
What?
Nah, I'm just fucking with. I was just making a joke about Staten Island. I was like, oh, just driving in Staten Island?
Just driving. That's a crime. What are you doing?
What do you mean? You can't drive sober in Staten Island. What are you talking about?
Apparently, he was making these trips to Pennsylvania to try and sell his leftover fabrics. He was having a lot of trouble because he had lost his store in Bay Ridge. And like I said, he eventually just became a traveling salesman, pretty much.
Also lost his seamstress.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I got all this fabric now. I don't know how to sew.
He did. Well, he was selling his fabrics to clothing companies and designers. Like some of them on Fifth Avenue. Seriously. Like he was, as far as, providing these designers with fabrics, he was somebody in the game,
It's like he's one of those he's a character that I feel like it's like I was selling to Fifth Avenue. It's like, are you on Fifth Avenue or is this more like a off Fifth Avenue type? like
he was
just off Fifth Avenue, like that alleyway behind Macy's.
There's one of the murders took place on Fifth Avenue.
I know. I was just like, this guy seems like one of those. I'm selling on Fifth Avenue. You're selling in an alleyway behind the Belks.
It's 5.5 Avenue at best. But yeah, so he loses his store in Bay Ridge. He eventually became a traveling salesman. And with these charges that he's accumulating and the debt, oh my God, the debt, the overwhelming debt, he's basically the character in The Death of a Salesman. Yeah, he's completely falling apart. He's losing his grip on reality. and his life is crumbling. And he, at this point, anyone, I think, could make the argument for Perrone that he has nothing to lose.
Yeah, at this point, him. Yeah. It's almost like you're almost hitting rock bottom at this point in his world, yeah.
Exactly. And you're talking 2012, he's like 65 years old.
Yeah.
So, and here's a little hint, Andy, to someone who may be losing their marbles. Some nights, Perrone would be seen singing opera in the streets with a glass of wine and a cigar just top of his lungs, just singing to all the neighbors who he'd just fucking cussed out earlier. Other nights, he'd sit in a chair in the street and just drink beer and just stare at his house.
I mean, was he any good? That's the only thing I gotta know.
Probably, right?
I mean, if he's halfway decent, I mean, like, listen, I'll deal with some of your yelling if you're gonna sing me a nice soprano at the end.
Right?
But
that kind of sounds nice.
That's have a nice cigar out there and just like, you know what? This makes up for those yells you said earlier.
He has a lovely voice.
You know what? I feel his pain.
Right. But what's funny though is while he was out there and while he would sit out there and drink beer, when I first started looking into this and I seen it in a few articles and whatnot and neighbors talking about that, I assumed he was sitting, in his lawn staring at all his neighbors, right? Death staring them all.
Yeah, just that just that Gran Torino Clint Eastwood just staring at everybody.
No, it's more like he's sitting on the sidewalk out in front of his house staring at his own house.
Oh, that's a crazy person. Yeah, that's never never mind.
That's what was happening.
I mean, it's still similar to Clint Eastwood and Gran Torino, but still, no, that's a crazy person.
Yeah. I don't know what it was about, man. Maybe he was like, someone's at my house and I'm going to wait for him to come out.
You know what? Fuck.
He could have.
He's just staring at this house. He's like, God, the owner of this house is just a piece of shit. Look at this house.
It's falling apart.
He's like, God, this house is a piece of shit. If I could just wait, I'm just waiting for the fucking owner to come out so I can give him a piece of my mind. This guy needs to hear what I got to say.
Right. Oh my gosh. And at this point, I think Perrone was a little too proud still to give up on his dreams. But the reality of it was that even his fabrics that he was creating and the quality of his work was in bad decline. Like to the point where vendors were having to make up excuses to not buy from him. Like because they bought from him for so long.
Yeah.
So one man that he murdered, he sold to him for 20 years, Andy. And now all of a sudden, like
these guys
fabrics
are just making up excuses like, no, Salvatore, I don't know what to tell you. Silk, it's just not, it's not in right now.
In demand.
What is this? Cotton? Cotton is out. It's not big now. Sorry.
Exactly.
We're looking for pure velvet now.
Exactly. And someone like Salvatore, who believes that everything he does is gold and amazing, took this as a slight.
Yeah, this is not against. This is actually against him.
Exactly.
This is not the economy.
It has nothing to do with the fabrics. They're just teaming up on me.
There's nothing to do with my behavior or my work ethic or my sloppy delivery of everything.
No,
this is purely This is me. This is slight against my character.
Yeah, the stains on the fabric. That's just adds character.
Yeah, exactly.
But in 2008, he stopped paying on his house, and he carried what he had left of his products around in a duffel bag, trying to push them off on old friends and acquaintances in the Bay Ridge area. Now, him walking around with this duffel bag was a popular occurrence.
Yeah, it became like a character.
Yes. He was walking around in all black with this duffel bag all the time, and allegedly, he carried his fabrics in it. Right? No problem there, Andy.
Just a bag of fabric. Just a black duffel bag of fabric.
Exactly. No big deal. Except for in the summer of 2012, when he started committing some of his most heinous crimes yet, Andy. You have any idea what that might be?
I'm gonna go ahead and say tax evasion.
It's not. It's murder.
Damn it!
And on July 6th, Perrone walked into a rival clothing shop at closing time. The shop was owned by 65-year-old Mohammed Jabeli. The two men had known each other for 20 years. This is the gentleman I mentioned earlier. But still, I wouldn't call them friends.
Yeah, they know each other from work.
Business acquaintances.
Yeah. He's a friend from work, as Thor would say.
And in this interaction, Jabeli tried his best to be cordial to the man, but was met with a blank expression and no response. Then Perrone reached into his black duffel bag and pulled out a sawed-off .22 caliber rifle and fired once at Jabeli, striking him in the neck. Now, thinking he was dead, Perrone then covered Jabeli with clothes and left the building. Now, unfortunately for Jabeli, he wasn't dead, and he could have been saved had anyone even knew about him. But it was right at closing time. He was at the store alone, Salvatore knew he would be at the store alone. And Jabelli ended up bleeding out on the floor of his Bay Ridge clothing store.
It seems almost like it's very cinematic to an extent. It seems like a scene from Terminator. From like the first Terminator, like just this guy coming into the store in like a black trench coat with a black duffel bag, and then pulling out like the most unorthodox gun.
Yes,
it's to pull out what you would like a sawed-off gun from a duffel bag. You assume like a sawed-off shotgun or something like that.
Right.
This guy pulls out a sawed-off 22 hunting rifle.
22 long rifle. Yeah,
that is the most inconvenient type. Like it's almost like pulling out an air rifle to an extent, but like a cut-off air rifle. That's how small those are.
Well, he had what he had. You know?
Exactly, and it's just like it's such a weird scene. It's very much this guy was almost probably looking at him like, "Is this real? Is that a gun?"
Yeah, and he had a flashlight duct tape to the bottom of it too.
Yeah, it's
just
like he wanted
crudely,
to. It's like he wanted to seem like the Terminator. It's like that was all. It's like he's like coming out with this duffel bag of like this like almost like this big like assassin gun or like this big like an assassin or something like that, like this like silenced gun or something. But it's not. It's a fucking flashlight taped to a hunting rifle.
Exactly. Yeah, he had to use whatever he had. I think he was going to commit these murders if he had to do it with a knife. Yeah. Honestly, which he had knives with him as well.
But yeah, he just seemed very cinematic when he played this out. Like he was like almost like he was playing a role.
He's a little bit dramatic, Andy.
Yeah, it's like he's playing a role.
He sings opera in the street with wine and a cigar. He's a little bit dramatic.
Yeah, it's like he was doing what he like almost what he thought this person should be doing. It's
exactly. But it wasn't even a month later. On August 2nd, Isaac Kader, 59, was in his store around closing, same time again, when Perrone walks in, shoots him, and then stabs him twice in the neck before stealing what money he could find in the store. Then he proceeds to pour bleach around Kader's body and placed an aluminum tray over his face.
Now, no money was stolen in the first murder, right?
Not the first one.
Okay, so that was because I was questioning whether or not like they tied him to this murder. They're like, this seems so similar to another murder.
Yes, but they did find the .22 caliber casings at both.
Yeah, this is the one that just this one is almost like he's picking up an MO now.
Yes, and both bodies were covered with clothes.
Yeah,
but like I said, with this one, he poured bleach around his body. He went the extra mile to do that, and then he placed the aluminum tray on his face. Now, some psychological experts believe that covering a body after murder is the murderer's way of trying to reverse that murder in their mind, just kind of erase that. But the bleach and the aluminum tray really, to me, just seemed to be a way to cover your tracks.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just trying to destroy any evidence around.
Yeah, exactly.
I
think hiding the body as crudely as he did, it's not like he was trying to really hide the body. It's like he knew this body was going to be found either the next day or in the following days. So it's not like he was trying to get the body out of there and not let anybody know that this person had been killed, but he wasn't exactly like really leaving it on display either. So it's like a mixture of like, is this something it's the weird when the mental illness comes into play. It's like, are you trying to get caught or are you trying not to get caught? Because you're leaving it, but you're not really, covering too many of your tracks.
Right. And why would you go through the trouble of doing all that, but not picking up the casing?
Yeah, and for the first murder to leave them, like not take any money, to not make it look like it was a robbery. It's like this one, it's like you're just making it up as you go along to an extent.
Well, maybe the second one he was a little more comfortable, so he's like, oh, I might as well take the money while I'm here.
Or at this point he's just a bit more strapped for cash.
Yeah. Yes, true. As word got around about the killings, local shopkeepers were naturally on edge. Both victims were Egyptian immigrants, and many thought that these killings may be hate crimes at the time. Well, either way, Perrone may have been spooked by the hate crime accusations.
Yeah.
Because, that's palpable in a community, especially in 2012.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he chilled out for a little while. He chilled out for about 2 months until the fall. This was just after Hurricane Sandy had hit the area. And a neighbor was removing a tree that had fallen partially on Salvatore's property. Perrone did not like this at all. He became irrational with his neighbor, and this event could have possibly pushed him over the edge to commit his next and final murder.
Oh, wow. I didn't even realize that this. I was kind of putting together some of the timelines. My dad was like in New York at this time for a while, right after Hurricane Sandy. Yeah, right in 2012, right after Hurricane Sandy.
Yeah,
he was actually staying in New York for months at a time, doing some insurance claims and stuff.
Yeah. Well, for his final victim, Perrone set his sights on the Shishi Boutique. This is the one that's on Fifth Avenue.
Okay.
On November 16th, Ramatala Vahidapur. Vahidapur was 78 years old. He was alone in his store behind the counter, just like the others. When Perrone walked in, he wasted no time. He walked straight up to Vahidapur and shot him 3 times, twice in the head and once in the torso. Perrone then dragged his body to the back of the store. This is the first body he moved, by the way, and covered him with clothing. Strangely enough, when police found Vahidapur, he had over $170 in his pocket, which suggested that the killer was no longer interested in robbery.
Mm-hmm.
So this was very puzzling for them. But I don't know. Maybe he had some. Now they're thinking that maybe robbery wasn't the motive for this. Maybe he just needed cash for that day.
Yeah.
And decided to grab some, but it's not the overall motive. So now they're thinking serial killer.
Yeah. And also, when you say the back of the store, it's still, he didn't like take him into like the back office. It's like he didn't take him like out of sight. He literally just pulled him like
to the back of the showroom.
Yeah, to the back of the showroom. So it's like as soon as somebody came in the store, it's like you could walk in the store and see like clothes on the floor, and if you didn't notice, like the body was under those.
Yes.
But he still didn't take the time to like really hide the body. So.
Yeah. And what's crazy is after he does all this at this scene, Perrone then goes out with his girlfriend, Natasha, and just danced and talked and joked around with others at a bar like nothing happened. Obviously, Natasha didn't know this at the time. This comes from her testimony later. But she was just appalled when she put the timeline together, and she was like, oh, my God. You know, the night we went out dancing, you acted completely normal.
God, I bet that man is just a creep on the dance floor. Can you imagine him? He's probably one of those guys who goes out there. He's got his thinning hair just slicked back with so much pomade, deep open, like leopard shirt, like silk shirt on.
Definitely.
Just so much fucking Aqua de Jour, the cologne. Just reeking.
You just can't breathe.
Just got so many just bracelets and rings on.
Just scraped on the floor.
So sweaty. Just dancing.
Oh, so sweaty.
So sweaty.
So sweaty. But meanwhile, while he's out here cutting a rug and getting super sweaty, the NYPD was linking the 3 murders together. And they were putting together the clues pretty fast, Andy, because there was quite a few clues, as we've mentioned already. Each murder was committed near closing time. A .22 caliber shell casing was recovered at all 3 crime scenes.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you know about all this other stuff? Like, you're using bleach and all this stuff, but you're not picking up the freaking casing?
Exactly. It's one of the things that's like, you're not knowledgeable of guns. Like, do you not realize it's ejecting the casing every time? Or are you just leaving that?
I guess not. I guess so. And also, all 3 bodies were concealed with clothing or other items that was from the store. Now, they also had surveillance footage of a man dubbed John Doe Duffelbag. He was dubbed that by the police, and he was spotted on security footage near 2 of the murder sites at right around the time of the murders.
Because that is something that's also there that was really inconvenient, is like, but all the stores he hit did not have security cameras like catching him in the stores.
Right.
It's like he knew that these stores did not have security cameras.
Which is crazy. I mean, 2012, man. That's 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Like now,
this is New York.
There is not one store on Fifth Avenue, I venture.
Well, I'm just thinking New York post 9/11. It's like this is only 10 years after 9/11 to an extent, and you're like, you'd think that everybody has security cameras. Everybody's like watching everything.
Right.
But yeah, they could only catch him on like neighboring security cameras walking the street.
Well, I think because there's so much public security going on in New York, because that's what I gathered was the fact that they caught him on like CCTV footage, right?
Yeah, from like outdoor cameras,
yes,
like, on the corners and other businesses and stuff.
Yeah, because all the footage that you see, he's like walking down a sidewalk with the duffel bag. So what they decided to do was release this photo to the public and see if anybody knew him. And a local pharmacist came forward. It stated that the man in the picture was Salvatore Perrone. He was sure of it.
Yeah, so, he's pretty recognizable.
Yeah, if you've seen him every day, like this man that came forward, he had seen Sal every single day.
Oh, yeah.
Walking around the neighborhood with that duffel bag. for months.
Yeah, that's son of Sal. That's old crazy Sal with his duffel bag.
Yep. And see, it wasn't even crazy at first because he was just carrying around his fabrics. What if he was just walking around carrying the fabrics for so long just as a alibi?
Mm-hmm. Well, at
to
this
be
point,
carrying a gun.
It's like
or maybe he had the gun the whole time.
You're probably right. I think he probably did. I think at that duffel bag, I think he had the gun. I think he was kind of already on edge and a little out of his mind a bit. But it's like at this point, you're so recognizable for just being the guy in a trench coat and a duffel bag.
Yeah.
That's all the guy had to recognize on the camera.
That's
it.
it.
Like, oh, I know that guy. He walks around my neighborhood every week.
And you can see the mustache.
Yes, but still, it's like you just know that guy now. You're wearing a uniform.
Exactly. So it took no time for the NYPD to find Perrone, and they questioned him on November 20th, 2012. The following day, a .22 caliber rifle and 3 knives, one of which appeared to have blood on it, were discovered in a duffel bag found in his girlfriend, old Natasha's Brooklyn apartment.
I was surprised he didn't have the duffel bag on him when they found him, just wandering the street still.
Oh, no.
It's like, that's Sal. He wanders 3rd Street around 2 o'clock every day. He's got a duffel bag. Keep distance.
Yeah. No, he tried to pass it off on old Natasha.
He's like, honey, will you hold this bag for me? Don't open it.
Don't open it.
Please don't open it. It's got my fabrics. It's got all my fabrics
in
there.
If you open it, you don't love me. Okay.
I'll know if you opened it.
I'll know.
Trust me, there will be signs.
Italians always know.
There will be signs that you open his bag. My first sign will be I will be in handcuffs.
Exactly. But while his fingerprints were found on the weapon and ballistic testing determined the shell casings retrieved from each crime scene were fired from that said weapon, Perrone maintained he was working for the Italian CIA. Okay, this is good reason here. Okay. In a state of mania, he allegedly told police that the killing spree has to do with a plan to promote world peace. Yeah.
Okay.
He was very confident about this.
I'm listening. World peace. Okay. Not following your method so far, but
yeah, he said that he had emails from a CIA employee,
like an operative or something, giving him orders.
During his interrogation with the police, he told the detective that he had emails. The detective's like, "Okay, great, you got your computer."
Yeah, that's
they go get his computer, and he tells him his email, tells him his password, which is Golden22, by the way. His password's Golden22.
Yeah, the cops had a good laugh at that, like in his face too. The cops didn't even give him time to correct it. They were like, "What's your password?" Golden22. Really? That's your fucking password? It's
they are Brooklyn police,
such
dude.
Brooklyn cops. Just be like,
They are
that's your
Brooklyn.
fucking password? You fucking dork. Yeah, it was fucking you. I know it was you.
Fucking A.
You 22 ass. You fucking fucking loser.
That's really all we need. We're putting you away.
He does. He's telling. He's very like the cop who's interviewing him is like he's very convincing at first. He's like I've been talking to this guy from the CIA from the Palestinian sector in this organization. And they're like, right. There's not a. I don't know if there's a Palestinian sector. And apparently, your job is to target Israelis. Well, 2 of them were Muslim. What are you talking about? He's
exactly.
They weren't on board. Like, with what?
Lots of people aren't on board with this.
Like the cop just looking at him being like, oh, so you were trying to only kill Israelis, right? Yes. 2 of them were Muslim.
Wait, so you killed people?
Fuck.
Got him.
Fuck.
But either way, it didn't really matter what Salvatore said. All the bullshit that he fed cops and all the ramblings he did in court, which I played some for the intro. But either way, he was arrested on 3 counts of murder and 3 counts of criminal possession of a weapon. And that's according to the Staten Island Advance. Perrone was deemed fit to stand trial, and when court proceedings began in 2016, he took the stand in his own defense.
Abso-fucking-lutely. Look at this guy.
Of course. Who else could represent this guy? Who else is smart enough, Andy?
I'm paying the best lawyer in town. Me. Do I also get to keep my retainer?
Exactly. And of course, his stance was that he never shot 3 shopkeepers. Here's a quote straight from him. He says, "I've waited for this moment for 3 years. I want everyone to know the truth. I was set up."
Oh, God, yes. I love that moment in the interrogation when the cop's like, okay, what's your password? What's your email? And he logs into his email. He's like, there's some spam in here from Whole Foods and your Planet Fitness membership is expired. It's like, there's nothing here from the CIA. I'm looking at your spam folder.
No.
You need to delete this spam folder. There's some serious stuff in here. But yeah, he's like the guy, and like Salvatore's like, the CIA must have deleted it all from my hard drive.
Yeah, he's got an excuse for everything.
Yeah, he was like so quick to be like, they deleted it. They're setting me up. It's like, I don't think that's how they operate, but go ahead.
Yep. Yeah, throughout the entire trial, he was prone to outburst. In the end, he fired his legal representative. It's like an episode of Better Call Saul. It's a freaking disaster.
Wait a minute, I thought he was his own legal representative. It's like,
he fired himself,
you're
Andy.
fired. I'm fired. You're fired. You're fired. I'm fired. Fuck you. I got me a new lawyer.
He's just trying to stall.
He just comes in the next episode with his mustache shaved off. I'm a much more representable lawyer now.
Exactly. Do you believe me now?
Look at his face.
Oh, my God. But Perrone was not in the courtroom when his verdict was read because he had been thrown out earlier for a display of disorderly conduct. Like, that's how rude he was in court. Like, he just...
You can't throw your mustache at the judge.
And you couldn't talk to him either.
No.
You just couldn't. He was not hearing it.
No, this guy was very much... He was right in his mind. Like, or he was just sticking to his story regardless.
Oh, yeah, he was sticking to it, and it was garbage. And he was sentenced to 75 years to life on March 4th, 2016. And he is currently serving his sentence at the Clinton Correctional Facility in Dannemora, New York.
Oof, rough.
You know, in my opinion, Andy, I feel like he wanted the success of his peers. And when he knew that he would never live up to that, he wanted to take it from them.
Oh, yeah. I feel like he was
maybe
just...
he felt scorned.
I feel like he just felt like he was wrongfully like misdone. He was like wrongfully lauded or something. Like he got screwed over, but it was always somebody else's fault.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And out of all the people who were against him and out of all the people who were to blame, I would say the people who directly buy from you, you know, if you're a very small-minded person, you would think like, oh, my money comes from these guys.
Yeah.
And these guys aren't giving me money, and that's making me poor. And that's making my life suck. And that's what's making everybody hate me. And I can't afford to fix my house or buy my girlfriend a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Fuck these guys.
This guy just
It's
seems
so
like
small-minded.
he seems like a very small man. He thought he was apparently entitled to this like American dream of, you know, being an immigrant and working really hard and, you know, getting the nice white house with picket fence.
Yep.
And he thought he was entitled to like this easy life just because he was like doing what he was supposed to do.
Right.
And then when it didn't work out like he thought it was going to, he just wanted to blame everybody else that it somewhat was working out for. Anybody who had like it's almost like people who had a similar
or
life
anyone
than his,
that had a direct effect in his failure to him.
Anybody
you know
who
what I mean?
he could then blame, he could tie it back to, or anybody who he thought like, well, you had like a very similar life to me. Why is it working out for you? And now you're not helping me. You're screwing me over. You should be helping me.
I think it is odd that all of his victims were Middle Eastern, though. You know, I think that's kind of odd.
Yeah, I think that actually lends itself a bit to some of just his more racist beliefs.
Right.
I think that's where
there's a lot of clothing places on Fifth Avenue, Andy. A lot.
Yeah. There's a lot of clothing in New York.
Come on.
Just in New York. Like if you're trying to sell clothes, like sell fabric, sell clothing in New York City, there's places to sell it. If you're stuck in this mindset, like I can only sell my fabric to Saks Fifth Avenue and to to these top.
And I think that was the thing. He's like, if I can't sell my top of the line fabrics to the top of the line stores where they belong, then I'm not going to sell them.
Yeah, this is Gucci or nothing.
Probably could have sold out to Target, man. Retired.
You could have just fucking gone
moved to Florida.
This is not like a slur or anything. It's like you could have just gone to any other neighborhood or any other borough of Brooklyn or of New York, gone down to Chinatown, find local merchants, gone down to Little Italy, find little local bodegas. You could find stores to sell these things.
Why would you think that would be a slur or something?
Well, I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying like these are like lower income areas to sell to. I'm like, you could just go to anywhere else in New York and find all these small businesses and local shops.
There's high-end places in every neighborhood.
There are, but I'm like, this guy was so stuck on like, I must be selling to the name brands. I'm like, you just go fucking sell to small businesses. Go sell to small shops. Go sell to anybody else who will buy your shops just to make money.
It's like at one time you drove to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, right.
It's like, why aren't you doing? Probably couldn't afford the trip anymore. I mean, it's only one state away. Shit.
Like I said, I feel like he just got in this mindset of like he thought he was owed this like, you know, American dream. He thought he was owed this life of prosperity after paying his dues.
Yeah.
And then he started seeing these other people like succeeding where he thought he should have been, and he just took it personally.
Yeah, maybe. You know what I find so frustrating about this case, Andy, is that the man believed he was doing it for a reason, right? Whether mental disabilities or not, mental illnesses or not, he believed that he was doing it for a reason and that he had a purpose and that it was justified. And then in the eyes of the public, you say he will never admit it. He'll never admit his guilt that he did anything, so there's nothing to explain, right? And then he believes that as well now that it's over, right? He covered them up. In his mind, like, I think that was all, symbolic, the way he threw the clothes on them, covering them up. And I think now he hasn't taken responsibility for it. He had no money, and his life was probably worse than prison life, especially for, well, I don't know. I don't know what kind of prison they're going to put him in. I don't think he should be in low security. You killed 3 people.
Oh, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the prison at Dannemora is not a friendly one.
Okay.
So,
well, either way, though, I mean, he's getting 3 square meals a day. He's getting exercise. He's getting sunshine, and he doesn't have to worry about his housing situation ever. And most importantly, he has his life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just don't think that's good enough. I feel like he got off so good compared to so many of any other serial killer. They either got treated so bad in prison that they killed themselves or they were killed, right? I mean, there's very few who have lived like Randy Kraft. That's some bitch.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ, he's still alive, isn't he?
I think so.
Dude, I think he's still alive.
I mean, there's going to be people who, they're going to beat the system. They're going to stay forever. Like, fucking Manson died of old age. But
yeah,
still.
but one of the victims' family members said just that too, and it just I was like, thank you. I feel the same way. I feel that he got off easy. It sucks that New York doesn't have the death penalty. Seriously.
Because like you said, the fact that his story changes so quickly, it's like when he's in the interrogation room, he's basically like admitting that I killed these people because the CIA told me
exactly.
to, and I was doing this for a good reason, and I was part of something. And then as soon as he gets in court, he's, I didn't kill anybody, I didn't shoot anybody, I didn't do anything. Why would I? No, you're just setting me up.
You're set up.
Me. Yeah, it's like, no, dude, like I said, I feel like the first, you thought this was going to pay off. You thought you had some way of like, maybe they'll just buy this story of the CIA, which was, I don't know how you thought that was going to work.
Right.
But as soon as they poked holes in that story, you just fell apart and just denied everything.
Yeah.
But so it's like, that's why it's very clearly like, you're fit to stand trial because you're lying to us.
Exactly.
And as soon as we called you on your lie, you changed your story.
Exactly.
It's like, so, when you say like the death penalty is, he got off a little bit too easy. This guy is one of those people. It's I don't want to say he's like, too warped, but it's like, it's hard to say the why of all this.
Exactly.
You can't really look at him and be like, oh, you're someone like Bundy or Gacy.
You can't truly punish someone like this.
Because
that's what I'm saying. That's what's so aggravating about it.
Yeah, because it's like, is this guy really that mentally ill, or is this guy kind of just a whiny racist who wanted to blame somebody else for his problems? And he keeps going back and forth on these stories. It's like, well, which one are you? We don't even fucking know. Just, you know what? Go rot in a hole. Like, that's all you're gonna get.
I guess, yeah.
Because it's like, you're clearly you're not mentally ill for us to really take care of you and put you in like an institution and really try and rehabilitate you. But it's like, we can't get a good enough answer out of you for why of all this. So just go fucking sit in a hole.
Yeah, exactly. And, a lot of the victims were very frustrated too. And a lot of them spoke to Salvatore during the trials. Vahitapor's daughter said, quote, "My father was a dedicated, hardworking man. He lived a life with dignity. God will punish you. You're pathetic. You will rot and die alone. You're a loser." End quote. Jabelli's son, Murad Jabelli, was also in court, and he said, quote, "I've known you for 20 years. I just want to ask you one question. Why did you do this? Why?" And he goes on to say, "Every time you walked into my dad's store, it was near closing, and my father would stay open and wait for you. We treated you with love and respect. What did he do to you? Why did you do this?" And Perrone had the audacity to answer, and he said, "I didn't shoot your father." And then he proceeds to give Jabelli a bullshit alibi as to where he was the day his father was killed, and it's not even worth mentioning. It's It's all rambling. That's why the court literally had to. The judge was like, "Just get out. You don't even know what's going on."
He wasn't supposed to respond.
No,
this was supposed to be the time for
up.
the victims' families to like. It's the time for the victims' family to say their piece, and like you are like in the court of law, you're supposed to sit there and fucking take it.
Yeah.
And he just kept responding. He kept arguing back and denying more shit. And they're like, "No, fuck, get out of here."
Yep. He maintained his innocence throughout everything, despite the avalanche of evidence against him. It was insane. And when it was his turn to speak, he stood up there and read from a typed script listing the witnesses who were not called in his defense and names of other possible suspects that could have done these crimes, Andy.
Oh, of course, this guy has a list of other suspects. This guy who's been a nobody and now has been arrested and been in jail for months. Of course, this guy who's representing himself has a great list of possible suspects that you guys are just not listening to.
Right? Gosh, you guys just aren't listening.
I'm the real detective here. You guys aren't even listening to me.
Right? And the judge finally, he says, despite all the overwhelming evidence that convicted this defendant, videos, DNA, fingerprints, telephone records, the defendant is still in denial. And Perrone responds, if I'm lying, hang me. In a state where they don't have the death penalty, real brave.
Yeah,
so brave. I'd bring it back just for him. I'd be like, all right, bet.
I've seen some people in New York end up being like hanging in jail cells before. I'm just saying.
Right, I think we can have that arranged. Brooklyn District Attorney Ken Thompson, he said, and I'll end it with this. He said, I hope his life sentence will bring some comfort to the victims' families who have suffered so much loss and grief. And I just don't think it does.
No.
I really don't. I just try to put myself in their shoes, and I'm just like, this man did not get what he deserves. He needs to be, I don't know. He's just a danger to society.
Yeah.
Someone who has zero empathy, completely self-absorbed, or maybe they just are because of extreme paranoia and the mental illness. Either way, they're a complete danger to society.
Yeah. And the fact that he wants to play the victim the whole time. He wants to deny what he did. He wants to blame other people. He wants to say these other people set me up. There's other suspects. Here, I'll give you names. Like you want to blame everybody else.
Yep.
For the fact that you innocently, you just murdered 3 people for no real reason.
No reason at all.
And you can't really, you tried to give one. It was so obviously bullshit that the cops just laughed at you. And now you're just resulting to, I didn't do it. You're all lying.
Right.
Everybody else is lying. Come on, dude.
Right? It's like you've already said that you did the murders. You were just lying about your motive.
Yeah.
Which we have no idea what that motive is.
Yeah, exactly.
And, he could have suffered from something as serious as schizophrenia, Andy.
Mm-hmm.
And really not know what his motive is.
No, very much so.
From time to time.
There, the indications of like his behavior being so different and so kind of off the wall sometimes, just like his neighbors saying him sitting out one night having wine and a cigar and singing opera to the next night having a beer and cussing at his house.
Yeah.
It's behaviors of someone who's not in the right mind all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's probably some mental illness, but the fact of like his paranoia just wants him to blame everybody else. He's like, everybody else is out to get me. Everybody else is the problem. It's clearly not me. And yeah, he's just a despicable person now. You don't even get like we said, there's not a good why for this. You don't even get to say like, well, unfortunately, they're just very mentally ill.
Yeah.
It's like,
but those people just had too much impact on his life. The people he chose, they were the direct opposite of what his life was going, and they were direct contacts for 2 decades. It's hard to think that you just flipped out and decided to kill these 3 random people who all happen to be in the same field, in a field that affected you greatly financially. Mm-hmm. And then you're also pleading insanity.
Yeah, this guy he didn't really have a good motive for any of this. That's why I said the why can be anything from mental illness to whiny racist bitch to, plan like to his weird little assassin schemes or whatever. It's like he's giving so many different whys and there's not a real clear one. It just sucks.
It does. But guys, there you go. There is the case of Salvatore Perrone, clothing designer extraordinaire turned serial killer.
Yes, just fashion visionary, just underappreciated. Apparently.
Framed for these awful crimes.
Yes, absolutely. Just I am working for the Palestinian sector of the Italian CAA. That's not a thing.
That's not
Show
a
me
thing.
a business card.
That's not a thing.
Please show me a letterhead. Give me something.
Right, give me a badge. What do you got?
Give me something to back that up, my man.
Right,
I can't.
right. Seriously. You don't even smell good. You don't even have "Oh my Gaia." We don't believe you.
Yeah, you bet you fucking need it.
Sweaty old bastard. You smell like cigars and old wine.
You smell like old
new
fabrics. You smell like a new wine.
You smell like a new wine. It's gross.
It's a great insult to tell somebody. You smell like a new wine. It's like, is that good?
Gosh.
No.
I'm gonna pitch that scent to Wendy over at Oh My Gaia. Hey guys, Oh My Gaia is an innovative all-natural deodorant, fragrance, and beard oil company specializing in paraben and aluminum-free products. Their innovative line of deodorants inhibit the growth of odor-causing bacteria while still maintaining effectiveness. And at Oh My Gaia, like I said, they use only all-natural and paraben and aluminum-free organic ingredients. Guys, there's tons of scents to choose from vanilla, cherry almond, sandalwood, lavender, lemongrass, Egyptian musk, coconut, dreamsicle, leather, and so many more on the website at ohmygaia.com, ohmygaia.com, or you can check them out on Instagram at shop_ohmygaia. And because you're True Crime Guys listeners, you can use the code word CREEPER for 15% off. That's CREEPER for 15% off your order at ohmygaia.com. That's ohmygaia.com. You guys will not regret it.
No, you will not. You smell so good.
No, you will not. And guys, if you're on YouTube, please look up True Crime Guys official channel, hit that subscribe button, and check out all of our new episodes coming out on Strange and Unexplained, or you can listen to the audio versions wherever you listen to podcasts every single Monday.
Mm-hmm.
For the foreseeable future until we get tired and quit randomly. But we'll be back. Don't worry.
But yeah, guys, like, subscribe, share, leave a comment on some of those videos.
Yeah.
Especially give us some comments on things you want to hear, some case suggestions.
Always open for case suggestions, guys.
Email us at truecrimeguys@gmail.com. DM us at any of our social medias. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. But yeah, guys, we really want to do some more case suggestions, more things that you guys bring to us, especially for Sandu.
Yeah.
Any kinds of missing persons or weird occurrences or strange cases that are from your neck of the woods.
Absolutely.
Especially ones that are lesser known. Please send them our way. We'd love to cover them.
Absolutely. Well said, Andy. Also, check out our music on Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you listen to music. Check out True Crime Guys as an artist. We have a couple albums out there and a few singles you guys can enjoy, add to your playlist and whatnot. And yeah, at True Crime Guys on social media. And don't forget, guys, the best way to support the show is patreon.com/truecrimeguys, where for just $2 a month, you can get access to every Patreon exclusive we've ever done and early and ad-free access to these regular episodes. And in the $5 tier, you can get access to everything in every show we have ever done, Andy. Mm-hmm. And it's hundreds of audio files. Again, that's patreon.com/truecrimeguys. All right, I think that's pretty much it. Andy,
I think so. Nah, man, I'm excited. We got a few things, fun things coming up. We got a really exciting new Patreon episode coming up this month, guys.
Yes.
I'm not gonna spoil too much, but me and Michael are gonna do a famous musician case for both of us. So we're gonna have a little bit of fun with that. It's not gonna be one of our dramatic cult episodes,
right.
But me and Michael get to talk about something we're both a little interested in.
What's that? That's in 2 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm. I think, 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, because next week we'll be back here on the free platform with a regular episode, and then we'll be on Patreon talking about this mystery musician.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Well, until then, I guess you just have to keep on creeping.
All right. Bye.
I'll clean that up. I know that was a little bit clunky. We'll clean that up in post. Don't worry about it.
That was my hip.